Oh, ho, 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 ho. I done been waiting for this one. You see, Don't Mind If I Don't is a show where fans and experts of things that I don't like convince me why I'm wrong. But I'd finally done enough episodes to earn me a Do Mind If I Do, which is where I get to convince somebody to like a thing that I like. Namely, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that somebody is none other than DJ Crazy Times himself, Kyle Gordon, who after recording this episode went on to achieve much viral fame. Does he owe it to Don't Mind If I Don't for his fame? Absolutely not. It had nothing to do with it at all. He's just a very talented person. Also joining us is one of Marvel's top editors, Jordan D. White, who is just a mensch of a man who I love very deeply. Well, enjoy this episode, and I'm going to take this wig off because I hate it.
Welcome to Don't Mind If I Don't. I'm your host, Aaron Gold. This is generally the show where I don't like things and fans and experts come on and convince me why I'm wrong. But we are doing something I've wanted to do since the very beginning. Welcome to Do Mind If I Do, the show where myself and an expert convince somebody else to love a thing that I love. Because I'm tired of putting up with all of this bullshit. I have tortured myself for you people. And so we're doing this right with one of my absolute favorite things in the world, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm a huge comic book nerd. I've been one for a long time, and I don't think anybody does it better than Marvel with their movies, with their TV shows on Netflix, and even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like my guiltiest pleasure TV show. So Grant, our co-producer, is double thumbing it down right now. He hates it, but I don't care because finally retribution today. Joining us, we have two wonderful guests. First of all, our other Marvel Comics expert, an editor at Marvel Comics. He's worked on Deadpool books, he works on the Star Wars books, and he's also the host of the Sailor Moon podcast, Sailor Business. Jordan D. White is here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me on the podcast.
Thanks for being here, man.
I mean, obviously, I do need to fully disclose that, yeah, I work for Marvel. So slight conflict of interest, but I don't work for the movie side. I have nothing to do with the movies. I have nothing to do with the TV shows. I work only on comic books. I'm not looped in on those things. I enjoy watching them as a fan.
I've also known you for years. I've known you before you were working at Marvel. We were in a Rocky Horror cast together.
That we were.
And you were a huge comic book nerd then, before this happened. So I can personally vouch for you as like a perfect gentleman and expert for this. But it's not about us today and our bloodthirsty obsession. Today, it's all about our guest. Improviser, comedian, and lead singer of comedy punk band My Dark Little Corner, who has been mentioned on this podcast before. Kyle Gordon is here.
It's all about me.
Hey, buddy.
Today, it's about me.
It's your time to shine.
All right. Yeah. Hello, I'm Kyle. This is a real treat. I actually listen to your podcast, so
Thanks,
I'm excited to be on it. This is fun.
I'm so happy we were able to have you on. This has also been the most bitch of an episode to schedule.
I know. This has been months and months. Yeah.
Months in the making, but we're here. Okay, so everything that comes through on this podcast gets rated on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being I'm ambivalent to it, 10 being blood-curdling hatred. So Kyle, where does the Marvel Cinematic Universe lie for you?
I would say, okay, so the whole cinematic universe, I would describe as about a 3. And I base that judgment on if I'm going to the movies, which I really don't do that much nowadays, but if I'm going to the movies and there's a Marvel movie there, I'm going to try to see pretty much every other movie in the theaters before I see that movie. But if I really have to,
like 50 Shades Darker.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? I would wait online to see that movie. I saw the first one and it was amazing because I love any movie where everyone in the theater is talking the whole time and it's like justified and everyone was like, damn, So, oh God, I would love to see 50 Shades Darker. But yeah.
Box Trolls 2?
Yeah. Oh, Box Trolls 2? You kidding me? What's it called? What's the other one? Storks?
I don't even know about that one.
Isn't that like a 3D movie? I don't know. I'd see it. I'd see it. Hell yeah, I'd see it.
They've got an audience.
Yeah, are you kidding me? If I was at the movies that day and like Doctor Strange was playing, which I did end up seeing, because nothing else came out at that time.
You didn't like Doctor Strange?
I really didn't like Doctor Strange. Yeah, really didn't like Doctor Strange.
Okay, wait, let me
We
ask
can
you
get
So
this.
into
you're at 3.
Were you high when you saw Doctor Strange?
No.
Okay, that might have been part of it.
Yeah. But is that really your
No,
basis?
not
for
really.
movie?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
So we should establish, how many have you seen? You've seen more than one.
Yeah, what
Okay.
have you seen? What
All
shows?
right.
What movies?
So I did watch the homework you gave me. I did most of it, as has been the case with homework assignments throughout my life. So I saw one episode of Jessica Jones and 2 episodes of the Daredevil show.
And for those nerds at home, because I know if I was listening to this, I'd be like, okay, well, which episodes? He watched the episode of Jessica Jones where it takes place in the police station towards the end, and you meet the Purple Man, Kilgrave. And of Daredevil, he watched 2 episodes of season 2, the one where he and the what was it?
The one where they're fucking on a roof the whole time and talking.
Oh, yeah.
And
Him versus
Clearly he loved it.
So boring. And then the second episode I saw was more exciting. That's when Punisher gets like a drill to the foot.
Yeah,
That was cool.
from the Irish mob.
Yeah. That was cool. That was cool. The first episode you made me watch, I was like, really, Aaron? This is the one you picked? But
You didn't like that fight scene with Daredevil?
that was at the whole end. I had to wait the whole episode to see it. It was it is so boring. And it was like, and what, I don't know. We could talk about it. But,
go on.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Well, I just want to know what else he's seen before
Yeah.
we
Oh,
establish
okay,
the ground.
yeah. Before we get into it, because we can get into those episodes specifically. But movies I've seen a lot. Because there's just so many. And if you go to the movie theater in the last 10 years, chances are you're
Well,
going
not
to
if you're going to see every other movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe that may have been an exaggeration because I have seen a fair amount. But so like as you know, in the last few years, I've seen the first 2 Avengers. There are only 2 Avengers, right?
There are 2 Avengers.
So
Age of
I
Ultron
saw
and-
them. Yeah. I saw Iron Man. And I think maybe the second one, I saw Doctor Strange recently. And then as a kid, I loved Spider-Man. And I loved...
Okay, we
That
got to
doesn't
pause
count?
right there.
That doesn't count?
Spider-Man movies are owned by Sony until most recently, where
Until
Marvel
Civil War.
recently got the
right.
title
That's
back.
why they made
So,
Amazing, right?
Here's
No,
what does not
that
count.
was
No,
also
that was
Sony.
So that's
Sony,
also
yeah.
Sony? Oh, that's to keep the rights?
Yep.
Yeah,
They
okay.
just rebooted it, and it was
Okay.
also crappy. No,
Okay.
here.
Oh,
So
you didn't like Tobey Maguire? Anyway,
I-
that's
we can
why I
argue about
hated
that
Tobey.
later.
Okay.
Yeah, no. The Spider-Man movies, the Fantastic Four movies, the X-Men movies, Deadpool. Am I forgetting any of the other Marvel properties?
There were some older
Blade.
the
okay.
Blade ones, the Ghost Rider ones. Those
Ghost
are
Rider.
not Marvel
I didn't see
Cinematic.
those, but-
The old Punisher movies.
Yeah.
The
Thomas
which were
Jane
decent.
one?
Thomas Jane one, or
Both
the
of them
Ray
decent.
Winstone one.
Okay.
Are there any more? And there's other ones that are really obscure, but
Yeah.
those are the ones that you would have
Okay.
heard.
Yeah. So then
And you saw Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gotcha.
I like that. I
Yeah.
kind of like that. But that it didn't really have any other characters from, right? That didn't really have any... What happened at the end? Wasn't there like some secret? I can't remember. Well, Howard the Duck, but
Yeah, that movie was not in continuity either.
that was okay. Yeah. So that's what I've seen.
So what is your issue with the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Why doesn't it grab you? Why
Okay.
would you watch Storks before you saw it?
Because okay, so this is my okay, so there's a lot of there are different reasons I don't like it, but the main thing is like from my perspective, there are two primary ways you can watch and enjoy one of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
First is like purely superficially, so it's like you know, metal clanking against metal and people flying and like the people who go out of the movies like, damn, that was fucking sick, you know, that level. Or when you've invested so much into the whole universe that you are able to like parse like nuances, like I don't care enough about any of these characters, and I'm not willing to invest enough time to really. It's like it takes so much effort to like put the whole universe together and like get excited about one character going into another movie, or even like I feel like, and I understand that it's that like level of like nerddom and commitment to one thing that I just don't think I really have I'm
Didn't you start a parody punk band for all of pop punk?
yeah. But that's okay. So I would describe my like depth of knowledge as like an inch deep and a mile wide. So like I know a little bit about a lot of stuff,
Fair.
but I'm not one of those guys who like digs forever at one thing and like can't get off of it.
No, but that seems like these would be great for you then. Okay, so let's talk about Guardians for a second, right?
Okay.
Because you said you enjoy Guardians.
Yeah.
So Guardians, you're right, doesn't have a ton of. It doesn't have like Captain America in it or Iron Man in it. It doesn't have a lot of like, oh, they're now going to be in the Avengers movie, the next movie. It's a looser connection. For people like Aaron and myself who know the comic books very well. There's a lot of like, small, you're like, oh, the Collector, he's a big deal. And look, there's Cosmo and then Howard the Duck at the end. All these.
Oh my God, it's Adam Warlock's Cocoon.
Adam Warlock's Cocoon. Oh, I know what each of the Infinity Gems does. Like all of these things. But I feel like to enjoy that movie just for itself, you don't need any of that. And you're right. It doesn't connect and you just go, oh, that was fun. They made a lot of good jokes. There was a lot of cool action. There was neat stuff. Oh, the villain Thanos that they had established in Avengers in it. So that's like the biggest connection probably.
Yeah.
But you're right. But I feel like they try, and I feel like they succeed at doing that across the board. I would say Doctor Strange does not stand on its own as well as Guardians does, but I feel like you can still go into Doctor Strange going, I don't know who this guy is. Let's find out. Oh, he's this jerk who's a doctor. He's gonna get his. Oh, he got his. Oh shit, what's going on? Like and. I don't know, but it didn't work for you, apparently.
I completely agree with you. Guardians, of all the Marvel movies that I saw, which is all of them at least twice mostly, Guardians was the one I knew the least about going in, and I think it might be one of my favorite movies Marvel has done. I think it's a damn near perfect movie, which was like the two best, in my opinion, are Guardians of the Galaxy and the first Avengers. And like the first Avengers was mostly because that did scratch all those itches I had as a nerd of like, I can't wait for it to finally, they're finally doing it. And Guardians was just a goddamn good movie.
Right.
I mean, that's tough because I agree Guardians is so good and Avengers is amazing, but all three of the Cap movies are great.
Yeah.
Probably the most
first
recent
one
Cap.
is
Really? I love the first one. It makes me feel so happy and good.
Wait, hold on. You and I are doing the nerd thing that all nerds always do, where we get into the thing that we love, and we're not putting the focus on Kyle.
I know, yeah.
We got to check ourselves.
Well, that's part of the problem. Well, that was the thing is like you I have some other issues, but to go on this point is like I don't have those itches, so it has to, like that's why I think Guardians appealed to me most because, I mean, it seemed to me the most accessible, as like a standalone movie.
The way I see it, there's two specific, kind of connected but separate issues at stake here. One of them is the concept of superheroes and superhero stories, and the other one is the specifics of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe does and tries to do, and in our opinion, accomplishes. But
where everything ties together, builds upon itself.
So if it's all right, let's start for a moment at the superhero side.
Right.
Do you like superhero stories in general at all?
Not really. I was going to get to that
That's
after.
a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big stumbling block.
And that's what I was going to say. I actually think we should start with the other one first because that I think is like what we're talking about, like in terms of what's specific to the Marvel universe, which is, I think the big appeal of that is, and now DC kind of copied that, right? Because they're trying to, but Marvel created it, really.
Well, I mean, obviously,
damn near perfected.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, what Marvel's doing with the movies and the TV shows is really a recreation of what both companies have done in comics for many, many years. I mean, I think did Marvel really invent the comics crossing over? I don't think so. I think the DC comics crossed over with each other first, but Marvel, I think, solidified it into it's really a universe rather than
what's been around longer, Avengers or Justice League?
I'm pretty sure Justice League.
Most likely.
But at the same time, even though the DC comic books would sometimes cross over, they still would usually treat each book very separate.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel came along and went, no, we're the Marvel Universe. You might be reading FF and Spider-Man just swings by and it's like, yep, that's just where we live. He swings by sometimes.
That's actually one of my favorite. That's one of the things I love about the Marvel Universe is that they take these superheroes, but they ground it in reality. what I love about the movies and the TV shows of Marvel is that none of them are just superhero movies. They're superhero movie plus the first Captain America was a period piece World War II war movie. Second Captain America was superhero meets spy thriller.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy was superhero movie meets space opera epic. Like, it's never just standard origin story like the Spider-Man movies, which I hated, like which were so one-notey. But now that Marvel has Spider-Man, they're doing superhero, but an actual high school story, which is Peter Parker.
Well, that brings up a really good point. And this is something I was thinking when I was watching Jessica Jones, in that I was like, okay, I like this character a lot. She's like flawed and cool. I like the part where she was like, you know, holding the woman over the train and then accidentally dropped her. Like, yeah, that's cool. Like, she's not a perfect person or superhero or whatever. And then as soon as the superpowers came in, I was like, I was fine with it being like a cool detective thing. Like, I don't need the superpowers. Like, when I'm watching like a Western or when I'm watching, James Bond, I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but I wish he could fly. You know?
But that's why, like, honestly.
He can, and his name is Tony Stark.
Yes, there you go.
You think Tony Stark is James Bond?
No.
With
not
billions of
really.
dollars? Yeah, kind of.
Well, I mean, that's why the thing is the two issues are so that you're saying the second one is the one we should really talk about. The first one is pretty.
Yeah.
It's the stumbling block.
Yeah,
because I think if you were able to like superhero movies more, you'd go, oh, I can appreciate now what they're doing. But if you don't like that, you're never going to get there.
I don't know. I think we can break it.
I will also say, okay, here's another thing about the building on each other thing is that, and I know this is going to sound terrible because it's a Marvel guy saying, I think the Marvel stuff is better than the DC stuff. But I think the Marvel stuff is better than the DC stuff because one of the things that the Marvel movies and TV shows do is that they've all heard a siren go by.
Spider-Man's going after it. We're going to be fine.
Is that the Marvel movies, obviously everybody goes into these things going, and then maybe we'll make $1 zillion because we'll do it forever. But when Marvel did it, I feel like they did it one step at a time. They went, we're going to make an Iron Man movie. Fingers crossed that'll go well. And it did.
Yeah.
And as they saw that it went well, they were like, great, now we're going to do this one. And then we're going to do this one. And we'll see how that goes. And again, I don't remember Marvel ever announcing sequels to movies that hadn't come out. Or except with the possible exception of Guardians when they said like, at the beginning, I mean.
No. I'm pointing because I agree with you.
You agree with me.
Yeah.
With Guardians, like right before Guardians came out, they were like, we're going to do Guardians 2 because we know this is going to be, because there was a lot of positive buzz. Whereas DC literally came out of the gate going, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make 27 movies. Yeah. Here's all of them.
Actually, you bring up a good point comparing the two. How do you feel about the DC movies? Your Batman versus Superman, your Man of Steel.
I never saw Batman vs Superman.
Keep it that
saw, yeah, I know. Just I saw Suicide Squad.
How was it?
But I only saw Suicide Squad because I'm in this comedy punk band, and it seemed like a movie my character would love.
Fun.
Of like just every emo kid like has
all those tattoos.
all that stuff. It was
Joker's the man.
Yeah. I didn't really. I mean, I kind of like Batman better because he doesn't really have superpowers.
Sure.
But
so you have the same basic ambivalence to the DC movies as you do to the Marvel movies.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so it's not
and
like
the
you like one
grittiness is
better.
kind of like when the first Dark Knight came out, I was at a good age. I think I was in high school or maybe a little younger, but like I was like, whoa, cool. And then it wore on me really quickly. Just the fact making something really campy into gritty is like so hack at this point.
I mean, honestly, like I'm sitting here going, he just hates superheroes.
I think.
Well, I want to give you an in.
Please do.
Because when I was a kid, I mean, I loved the comic books. I read like a lot of Marvel comic books and pretty strictly comic books. And what I do appreciate about Marvel over DC, and tell me I'm wrong, but the impression it was like grounded in reality. So like I know it's like stupid, but like I felt like there was more magic in DC, and like Marvel to me seemed like a little more like we're going to try our hardest to make this seem plausible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Marvel's always
And that's
big
what I
on the
love
world,
about
it being the world outside your window. I mean, obviously that is a balance to strike when you're going, there's, like you said, there's Doctor Strange doing magic. There's the Fantastic Four just flying around space whenever they feel like it. But but it's still the same world. Like it's still your world. And that's hard, but it happens. In addition, and obviously this has been a thing that's fluctuated over the years, but especially at the beginnings of the Marvel Universe versus DC Universe, Marvel was always bigger on here's a story, here's Spider-Man, but the main thing is that he's Peter Parker and he's got problems, and then being Spider-Man causes him problems. Whereas on the other side of the street, it's nobody ever worries about Bruce Wayne's problems. No, you go, no, Batman has problems. He's the thing I'm reading about. Bruce Wayne is a thing he does once in a while, like to just go home and be like, I'm going to sleep with Bruce Wayne. It's fine. Like, you don't worry about Bruce Wayne. You don't worry about Clark Kent's life that much. You worry about Superman's life.
Yeah.
Also, to add on to that, the Marvel heroes are all much more flawed, which makes them so much easier to connect with, in my opinion. Yeah. Superman's this perfect guy. Yeah. Batman's power is that he's always right. But when it comes to the Marvel universe, like if you put all the Avengers against the Justice League, the Avengers would lose, and that's what makes them the better team, in my opinion. That's a whole nother debate. That's a whole nother debate.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that the focus of the Captain America stories, at least partly, is that he's like, what would happen to you if you suddenly found yourself 80 years in the future and all your friends and family are dead? But you've also got still the same responsibilities. You've got to lead people. How would you handle it? And he's like, oh boy. I love that.
What comics did you like?
Well, first I'll admit that, I mean, I read a lot of them, but mostly I just liked the art.
Yeah, sure.
But I liked Spider-Man. I really liked... I would say I liked Thor, but looking back, I think I liked Thor because no one liked Thor, and I just wanted to be different.
Fair, 100% fair.
Yeah. I think really I liked the Hulk. I liked... didn't really like Fantastic Four that much because their costumes were lame.
Same.
And X-Men was okay. There were too many of them, and they didn't like have unit. Like they feel like a random conglomeration of people to me.
I'm sorry. I know this is kind of a personal question, but what era or what years are we talking about here?
Well,
because people are gonna calculate your age. I don't know if
well,
you
no,
can.
because
or what lineup do you remember of the X-Men?
I'm 24 now, and but I only bought like comics from the 70s and 80s because I liked the art better than like the art that was coming out at the time. So Jessica Jones, I didn't even really know about until this TV show came out. Yeah. And so I only would buy the old comics because I liked history and I liked that art better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daredevil
I really like too.
So, Daredevil's cool.
Yeah.
Daredevil, dark
that costume is, really dark. I like that he was a lawyer. Because my dad's a lawyer, and but I liked his whole vibe. One thing we can get off of it right away: the concept in the show that Hell's Kitchen is this isolated.
That is the dumbest thing.
They gotta protect the kitchen.
They had to keep that from the comics. It's stupid.
It's like 10 blocks, and it's like all gay bars.
That's funny. We actually forgot Daredevil to list on the movies that don't count. Daredevil and Elektra.
Oh, that doesn't count?
No,
because
the old ones, the Affleck ones.
Yeah.
But what I'll say, I feel like Daredevil is a movie, going back to the connectivity stuff, Daredevil is a movie where, as a movie, to me, the idea that he dressed as a superhero was completely stupid. Because he's literally the only superhero in the world. He's a guy who's blind and goes, I can sort of see things. I'm going to dress up in a costume. Wait, what? In a world where superheroes already exist, then you can kind of go, oh, okay. Yeah. You're dressing up as a superhero because that's what everybody does in your world. You excuse it. But in the movie, I remember just thinking, there's no explanation for this. We're just supposed to accept that he dresses like a devil.
We've got Jordan and I have a mutual friend named Brett Tribe, and he's got a rule when it comes to any kind of ridiculous movies that have powers or magic or superheroes in them, which is you get one thing. You get one ridiculous thing. Yeah. Okay, superpowers exist, but you've got to treat everything else grounded as hell for that to work. And I completely agree with it. That's why I hate those non-Marvel movies where they just like, Tobey Maguire just made that $1,000 Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
No, screw you. How did you get that?
Well,
that is an
yeah.
impossible thing for a dude with no money living in his aunt's house to make.
See, I give up on costumes. Is a thing I just give up on in the movies because, again, even in the movies I love, the costumes are ridiculous. Like you just have to get over.
I'm
them.
fine with them being ridiculous. I'm talking about how did you get them? You did not make that.
To me, way worse than that was the third Spider-Man movie where you accept that he's Spider-Man already, but then they go, by the way, an alien just lands on Earth. Oh, right next to him.
Yeah.
What? Why? Where did that come from? You're right. That's a step too far. And again, that's another thing that by making regimented Marvel series where you're like, these are Iron Man movies, these are Captain ones, and they never touch. You're gonna have to be like, Iron Man's only gonna ever fight guys who have tech armor. And Captain America's only going to fight people who are
Nazis.
strong and Nazis. Yeah. But once you start saying, no, they cross over and they connect, then you can start doing more things of like, oh, it's all a big world and they can touch each other. And that sounded weird, but you know what I mean.
We don't know what happens in the locker room. We don't know what Jarvis is seeing.
It's Hell's Kitchen, baby. I actually, that's a good point, and I do appreciate it's so cool that that this world exists where they cross over.
We're doing it.
Yeah, no, I came on. I want to be convinced, and really bright people like these movies. So I must be missing something. But it's just it's like an investment that you have to make to appreciate all of it, and it's so much to digest.
I'd say that you don't need to see all of it to appreciate any singular part of it, but seeing all of it, there's always a little wink to you if you have seen all of it. So each of them do stand on their own. Each of the sequels do a quick job of catching you up, but you do appreciate it more when you have seen it all. And this applies to all of Marvel stuff except for any of Nick Fury's storyline where he's dead, he's not, he's dead, he's not. Like,
but you can accept.
Where I'm like, yeah, but
he's just this weird spy guy. Sometimes he's dead, sometimes he's not.
Yeah, he's Samuel L. Jackson. Just be happy he's there.
Yeah.
You said the 2 Avengers movies you saw.
I did see
How
them.
did you feel about those? Oh, okay.
No, I kind of liked it. I mean, I'm trying to remember. It's been a while, and I have horrible memory in general and for movies specifically. But I remember. Well, one thing that always distracts me is the fact that, I mean, the amount of power that each person on this team has is so varied, and the idea that they would all be contributing the same amount in any battle is so ridiculous. And I know they make jokes like Hawkeye does nothing. Yeah. Go away, and I don't even like him that much as a character. What's his deal? What's his
shoots
deal?
arrows.
Yeah, I know, but what's his vibe again?
In the
movies?
movies, he's a super spy who has, they don't straight up say it, but he has perfect aim. Which
Okay.
is,
But,
I always
what's
love
his
the power of
what's
having
his-
perfect aim because
what's his
it
kind
means-
of
Honestly, he hasn't had that much room to grow. I mean, one of the things that they did with him, which I thought worked, was that again in the first movie you don't really get much of him. You get him being quietly badass and sometimes making a crack maybe, and knocking things out with his arrows. And then in the second movie they have the reveal where they're like, oh, by the way, he has a wife and kids, and he just never mentioned them. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? There's more to him than it seems.
Yeah.
because
but you
he's
don't really
super
know what
spy
that
guy
is.
and he wants to keep that
Yeah.
really quiet, which
Yeah.
I thought was cool. And I also I like Hawkeye. I feel like there's no way to say that without a lilt in your voice, just because it's pretty stupid that he was running around with the bow and arrow. But what I love about Marvel is that they are the first ones to admit it. They're the first ones to go like, he's in the movies because he's a fan favorite, and we had to.
Yeah.
So we're doing our best to make this work. I love in Age of Ultron, Hawkeye even goes like, look, the city's floating. I've got a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense, but it's my job. So I'm just going to do my best and hope to not die.
All right. Yeah, but I don't want to get hung up too much on that. Well, actually, we could transition this to a larger point in that I think it's always so tough in that because they have such rabid fans, when they make these movies, they have to adhere to certain parts of the comics that maybe would be better altered. Like, if it, like when you make it into a movie.
Well,
That's
yes
a fair
and no.
point.
You're right, except when you're not. Which is to say, I mean, we're talking about Hawkeye. I would say the Hawkeye in the movies really isn't very much like the Hawkeye in the comics, other than that he's a little bit more like
even the same hair
Ultimate
color.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But those two are very different as well. And they do change some things. They never, I mean, whatever. I don't know. There are probably things that could have been changed more than they did. But I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily because of fans. Because, again, they have changed things that sometimes fans do get upset about.
Yeah, like the Ancient One being played by Tilda Swinton, which is a whole big
Oh, yeah.
mess. But,
Well, that was
saw
not
that.
just fandom. That was a lot of things.
you didn't see Civil War, which
No.
is fine. I know a lot of people that weren't fans of the movies didn't
Really?
like Civil
Oh,
War,
I see.
except for that 15-minute airport fight scene,
is
which
amazing.
I do recommend going home YouTubing that just the airport scene from Civil War because it's a 15-minute.
Oh, I did see
brawl.
Civil War.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah.
So you've seen
No,
all-
I did see Civil War because
That
that's
is
when
the
the
be-
new young Spider-Man comes.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that is the best Spider-Man
Okay.
movie yet, by the
And
way. The 15 minutes he shows up in
I
Civil
agree.
War.
I agree. Because
great.
that's a fun. He's a real teenager,
Totally.
being teeny and being fun. Yeah, I did see that movie. I can't believe I forgot. But I think I thought in my head I combined it with Avengers because
fine.
there were so
No,
many
you're right.
people in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In some ways, it feels more like an Avengers movie.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
can understand that.
And the biggest complaint I've heard about that movie is that there aren't really any stakes, like not too much changes.
Yeah.
And that's fair, but
That's
it's
not-
a
what?
fun movie.
At the end, half
you and
the
I got to stay on the
superheroes
same
in jail.
page, Jordan. We're going up on this.
Sorry.
But what you saw in Civil War is one of the things I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe nailed, which is the character of Black Panther.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I think that just for a second, think about how awesome it is that one of the most badass characters in movies right now is a black man who is also a king. Like Marvel is also queuing up for Captain Marvel, who is a woman, and they've already straight up said the most powerful person in the Marvel universe. So more powerful than Hulk, more powerful than Thor. Like
More powerful than Thanos?
Okay, well, hero. And, but like Marvel's making this push for diversity that we don't tend to see in most mainstream movies. And they're doing it very slowly. They're not like, oh my God, Marvel's saving culture. But like they are making moves that a lot of other studios aren't. I think that's wonderful. Like, isn't that, in some ways, isn't that a breath of fresh air? Or?
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate that, and it is cool to see. I mean, it's not going to make me like the plot or characters anymore. But you know, I like it. Yeah, and I appreciate that they do that where other. I mean, so if we're going to separate the Marvel universe from other superhero movies, like that's cool. I like that they're doing that. But I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess that. Well, I guess that is a fair point to say that if I'm going like. That does make me like the idea of the Marvel universe more, I would say.
Did you say you saw Man of Steel?
That's the Superman movie?
Yeah, the first one.
No, I didn't see that. Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah, no, you are fine. But I was gonna draw the comparison that a lot of one of the biggest differences is that in those movies, they the Superman and the Superman versus Batman, they drew a lot of complaints for not ever having any like lightness in them at all. That they were all dour and there was no fun or humor. And I think the Marvel movies do have some serious parts too, but they always have some fun and some jokes and some.
Right.
And they're genuinely funny.
Yeah.
Like I laugh. Like I don't, whether you liked Avengers or not, if you've seen it, I don't think anybody can honestly tell me that Puny God wasn't an awesome moment where Hulk versus Loki.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I
smashed him
remember
all
that.
over
Yeah. But well, that's a good point. I think Guardians of the Galaxy pulled that off best because that
100%.
whole movie felt really light, and really fun. And I appreciate the humor in the like that movie was funny, and like light and kind of silly and cool. But I think that is a good point. So check that off for one closer. But I think in the other movies, like Avengers specifically, first of all, I think it may be a product of having so much going on and so many characters that it feels like the tonal shifts are too drastic in that movie. Like it feels like here we got to have the funny part, and we've got like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now back to the like really intense stuff.
Here's Hulk chasing Black Widow down a corridor to add a little bit of monster movie into it.
Yeah. It feels like they've juggling so much, and it feels too jarring. I think the like comedy versus action versus anything else. Yeah,
That's fair. I like how they do that, but I think that is a personal preference.
You didn't see Ant-Man, did you?
No, but actually, tell me about Ant-Man, because I got really excited when I saw the trailer, because I'm like, Ant-Man is so stupid that this must just be an all-out comedy. Because wasn't Edgar
Wright was
he was supposed to do it, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be awesome, like just a really dumb, fun Marvel superhero. But then it kind of became they had to make it like intense, right?
I mean,
For the most part, it's a comedy still.
yeah,
Is it?
It leans. I mean, again, yes, it's still a comedy action movie rather than just a comedy.
Yeah.
But you know, it's got more comedy in it than Captain America does, or your average
And
Iron Man.
the fights are also funny. Like,
Yeah.
he's got a fight with one of the Avengers, and later he's got a fight going against the other guy who can shrink, and it's so clever because they end up fighting in a briefcase for a little bit. And they, like, you saw in the commercials and the trailers how he's, like, throwing the toy train at him.
Yeah,
Like, it's
they're
really
fighting, and then you
satisfying
just
to
see the train go like.
Yeah.
Visual stuff for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're nailing it.
To clarify, it went bloop.
So, okay, well, now we're starting to talk about the spectacle. And you said that you enjoyed the spectacle of it, like the visuals of all of it, or how do you feel about that?
I like it when it comes. It's not gonna draw me in alone. Like,
Of course.
like when I see, like, I need more than that. And that's why I was saying there are there's one subset that can just like those movies just for the cool bang bang knock 'em ups. But and I do like.
I'm
that.
looking forward to our spin-off podcast, Cool Bang Bang Knock 'em Ups.
bang knock 'em ups. Yeah, no, I do like it. And like when I watched that episode of Daredevil, so boring the whole time. But then at the end, that fight scene was really cool. I think it's cool. I mean, I think when superpowers are involved, it gets a little too ridiculous for me. I would like a cool like kung fu, because it was like just a kung fu martial arts type fight.
I mean, Daredevil has powers, but they're mostly just replacement for seeing. And the rest of what he does is mostly just
cool.
Yeah,
ninjutsu. So,
Daredevil's
yeah.
powers add up to I can see better without seeing.
Yeah. I mean, he has heightened senses. Too,
Yeah.
So he can hear far away and all those things. But so you might enjoy the Daredevil show more because, I mean, again, he does put on, an outfit and wear a little mask and have horns and stuff. But then he just does like ninja moves and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica Jones, has super strength. What is she? What's her
Super
deal?
Indestructible,
strength,
basically.
for the most part.
Yeah.
And can fly a little bit.
She can jump really far.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the comics, like that's even how they describe it. She's like, I can fly a little bit. how do you land? Not well.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Well, I think she might be my favorite character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, she is cool, and she's not. I mean, she's like flawed. I don't know, how do I say it? It's like it's not like a gimmick. Her flaws are not a gimmick. Like, just to be like, this isn't a perfect superhero, which I feel like sometimes their flaws in other superheroes are just to remind the viewer that like this person is relatable. Yeah. But like, she is like kind of fucked up, and
she's way fucked up.
Yeah.
She's an alcoholic with post-traumatic stress disorder.
I mean, in the comics, I mean, they changed it a little bit for the show, but in the comics, she was the legit superhero. Yeah. Like, she had a skin tight outfit and was a member of the Avengers, I think.
They
retconned her she wasn't really.
She was like a friend of the Avengers.
Okay.
It's based off of one of my favorite comics of all time, Alias, and I've read it too many times.
So they have once in a while they'll have flashbacks where she's in the spandex and she has pink hair and her name is Jewel.
In the show?
Yeah. No, in the comics.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the show, they end up just kind of going No, she wasn't a superhero. But she had powers.
Okay.
But the reason she stopped being a superhero. So but I'm saying it's interesting because it seems like you would gravitate towards her because she is a former superhero who rejected that, and you're like, I reject that.
Yeah, she had a really bad day as a superhero, and she was like, "I'm out," and it's about her, but still like on the edge of the superhero world, and like she still knows a couple of them,
right? And so that's when she becomes a detective and just wears jeans and a t-shirt. And stuff.
So you like that gritty depth of Jessica Jones? I would recommend watching all of Jessica Jones. I think it's the best that Marvel television has done.
I mean, the fact is, the reason I think it's so good to make this interconnectedness is, like I said at the beginning, it's imitating what the comics do. And one of the reasons I love the comics so much is that you have a really elastic world that we can do, these really serious Captain America comics that they based Winter Soldier on that are like spy comics and like spy stories with superheroes in them. And then I can do Deadpool comics that are ridiculous and super silly and like that all happen in the same world. And sometimes those characters will meet. And how does that work? And do they rub up against each other? Like, does it work? And it does somehow, one way or another. And I like the idea that we could get to that point in movies where you are like, here we're going to have a really serious movie, and then we're going to have a really silly movie, but they are the same world, and you see that and you feel that.
And to piggyback onto that, actually, one of my favorite moments in all of comics is in the Alias comic, where Jessica Jones is out on a date with another superhero, one of the Ant-Men.
Which one?
Scott Lang.
It was Scott Lang.
Yeah,
okay.
Scott Lang. They're on a date, and then all of a sudden they just hear this big boom, and they look over, and Dr. Octopus is like crashing down the street with stolen tech, and the Human Torch and Spider-Man are chasing him, and they both just look and go like, "Do we help?" And Ant-Man's like, "I don't have my stuff with me," and honestly, it looks like they got it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "All right," and then they just go back to having their meal.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding to see that. Because it's like those little things that you just know they're in the same universe, but then just seeing them together is very satisfying.
Yeah. No, I agree that it is cool. I think that is one thing I do appreciate also is that, like in addition to like the overlap, I like how it's the same world, but if you want the Goofy, you've got the Goofy.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want the, so that I appreciate. So maybe I can appreciate more that the Marvel Universe allows for that diversity within it.
Right.
There are definitely parts that I really don't like,
Yeah.
but I know there is probably something more, like somewhere, more geared towards my interests, I guess.
I mean, the idea that, just of the things you've seen, the idea that the Guardians of the Galaxy and that episode of Jessica Jones are the same world.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, are they? Oh, I guess they are.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, eventually, probably around Infinity War, they're going to meet.
You never know.
You never know. There's a very good chance.
Jessica Jones talking to a raccoon.
Oh man, and like honestly, of all the heroes introduced, those two would probably get along the most by going like, fuck everybody. But going on to the spectacle a little bit more, do you like CGI in movies when it's done well?
Not really.
No. Okay.
Not
Well, I'm
really.
going to scrap this point completely.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
I'm not amazed by CGI or it's not something like, oh wow, look at how far CGI has come. It doesn't excite me.
You probably tell me if you would agree with this. The best CGI is CGI you don't notice.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to ignore those points. Well, here's something to bear in mind with the Marvel movies. Would you agree to this? They're not perfect, but they're fun.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun. They are fun.
Like you go to see a Marvel movie, you're gonna at least walk out with a couple of moments where you're like, all right, that part was.
Yeah.
I smiled at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, they are fun, and in a way that the DC movies definitely are not fun at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if we're doing a Marvel versus DC movies, I mean, you have me like 100%.
Huzzah!
I mean, I would say Also, I mean, man, like one of the other things I think they pulled off really, really well is Captain America, because again,
I'm nodding.
You look at those, you look at those DC movies, and everybody goes, "Oh, they've got Superman." Well, of course they had to make Superman, be upset all the time and murder people and all these things, because Superman is just, you can't do a story about a good, like a Boy Scout nowadays. And Marvel movies went, yeah, we can. It's called Captain America, and he's just a good dude, and he always tries to do what's right, and it's hard, and he gets through it. And it's like, I think they nailed it. I mean, part of it, they can go, well, he's from World War II and everybody was better apparently, but it just, I don't know, it just works. You watch these movies and you're like, yeah, I just believe he's this really good dude who's trying really hard to do what's right.
Also, think about, if you can, any superhero movies before the very first Iron Man movie came out. What I love about Marvel.
Is that the first one in the universe?
That's the first one in the universe.
Okay.
And with that, and then all the movies afterwards, they raised superhero movies to a higher standard.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh yeah. The second Hulk movie was after Iron Man.
Yeah, because
The
Tony
first
Stark
Hulk
makes an
movie
appearance
doesn't
in it.
count, and the second Hulk movie does.
Yeah.
Which was the second Hulk movie?
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was fine. It was fun. But
Not the best one in the Marvel universe, but it was fun.
but like after Iron Man came out, studios realized, okay, superhero movies can be like good. Like they don't just have to be all flash. They can have suspense. Oh, pardon that unintentional pun.
Boo.
They have substance, and it kind of forced the DC movies to step up their game, and it forced Sony to really realize, crap, we can't do Spider-Man right. Here you go, Marvel.
Come on, wait, but
Do not defend Toby.
Spider-Man 2, man, with Dr.
Spider-Man
Octopus.
2, the casting was great. The outside of Octopus, it wasn't great. Rewatch it, man. It's not
well, it's
great.
been a
You guys
while.
not like
Yeah.
the first Spider-Man either?
No, I like the first one too.
Nope.
It's just
No, you don't like
I know
it?
he doesn't, so I was going to bring it. But the second one is the best one.
Bonesaws
is ready.
I love
got
that.
you for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You're going nowhere. That's Macho Man Randy Savage. We can't give that to anybody but Macho Man.
And also,
He was
I love
great.
that scene.
in general, I mean, I love Sam Raimi movies, so
Sam Raimi's great when he's not trying.
we'll have to do an episode.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I would love you to
That
convince
would
me
be
to like
a good
Sam
one.
Raimi.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Evil Dead 2 was his best, but
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, like I mean, it's to steal from the Kingpin in Daredevil. Rising the tide raises all ships. Like when Marvel does better, it makes other movie studios go like, okay, we can't just make something fun and we can't just make something flashy. It has to be good. Or we have to at least try it to be good. And WB really needs to listen to that lesson. But have you noticed superhero movies in general getting better after Marvel came on the scene? If not, totally cool.
No,
Just a shot
probably
in the
not.
dark. All right.
I mean, I haven't.
When did the Nolan movies come out?
After Iron... Wait.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they were.
Yeah,
No.
Dark Knight came out before. I feel like Dark Knight kind of set the standard.
Hold on, we've got
Maybe
an
Dark
internet
Knight
right here. Let me find
3
out.
was after.
Yeah.
Dark Knight 2 definitely came out after Iron Man 1.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
let me
The one with what's his name? Heath Ledger. Yeah. that
Iron
was
Man
after.
came out in 2008, and Batman Begins...
Oh wait, no. Actually, that might have come out before.
2005. No,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
All right, so Christopher Nolan started. Okay, so I'll drop that point.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, I like the idea behind that point, and I want that point to be true. But again, then we look at you could list a pretty decent number of not good superhero movies to come out after Iron Man 1,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Fair point.
Yeah. No. And to me, yeah, like in my head, they're kind of all the same.
That's a fair point,
Yeah. But I think, yeah. What was it? Yeah. I like. Well, now that they have Avengers, and I've seen those movies, like I think one of the problems with that is like there's just too many characters for me, and like I don't love superheroes to begin with, so it's like a little too much. But I think I do agree with your point about how like Marvel characters, like there's like really good, strong character development first, and then they happen to have superpowers on top of that. So like if they could branch out again with like from those Avengers movies, I think I might be more interested in that.
And they will around Phase 4.
I mean, yeah, obviously they've done, they did all the Iron Man ones, they did Cap ones, solo ones, they did Thor ones. They haven't done like Hawkeye or Black Widow or who else is on the Avengers now? They
Hulk.
haven't done a Vision.
They haven't done
They
War
haven't done a new
Machine.
Hulk since then. They
Yeah.
haven't done a War Machine. But War Machine's in a lot of the Iron Man ones.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more
in
they
all
can
of them.
do. They're going to do Black Panther. It's coming out. What year is that?
I think we got-
2018?
Black
they're
Panther,
filming it
yeah,
right
that could
now.
be cool.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, sorry.
No, I just can't remember what year that comes out.
I think it comes out in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably next year.
Yeah. Yeah, they're on set right now.
And they're like you said, they're doing a Spider-Man solo one. They're doing a third Thor movie,
Which is going to be a buddy cop movie
Yeah.
with Thor and Hulk.
Thor and Hulk teaming up.
Really?
So that
Yeah.
should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, wasn't there a comic? Wasn't that part of the comics? Wasn't there like a whole thing?
They've met. And
Okay.
They fight a lot. And
Okay.
all their fans argue over who would win in a fight. And they
Oh, yeah.
will not accept the other person's answer.
Though
no
even
matter
in the
what.
comics, they have straight up said it. Like,
Well, they've both. I mean, my answer to that is always in the comics, anybody can beat anybody.
that's true.
It
But
depends on who's writing it
Yeah,
and what they
Thor,
want to happen.
Thor and Kyle, pardon me, we've got to settle this. In Fear itself, which was not a great storyline, while Thor is facing down Hulk, Thor himself admits, I never could beat you. And Hulk goes, I know. And then Thor goes like, well, there is one thing I can do, knock you out of the fight. And then he just hits him so hard, he kind of sends him into orbit for a little bit and goes like, okay, we'll deal with that when he lands. Let's go solve this.
Well, there you go. Decided for all time.
So what are some of your favorite movies or TV shows? Because maybe that'll help us kind of prescribe what to do going forward.
Yeah, I think generally I like movies that are character driven with like really I just want to see like one complex like character go through shit. So I like my favorite movie ever would probably be Taxi Driver. And I know it's kind of a corny thing to say, but I don't care.
No, that's not corny.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
classic.
it's like a film student thing to say, but I don't know. I don't know anything.
Unless
But,
you mention a David Lynch movie, I'm not going to...
yeah, okay.
Blue Velvet.
Yeah,
Oh,
I like
fuck that movie.
yeah, Taxi Driver would probably be my favorite movie. New TV shows that I've liked. I like House of Cards. I like. I really don't watch enough TV lately, but I like.
Well, you're dark.
Yeah, I
So
like.
you're going to want to watch Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why I
that's the
think I
one.
gravitated towards Jessica Jones. But like that's why because she's like a believably dark character.
Yeah.
Like when you try to like get too gritty with like Superman or stuff like it just doesn't you can't sell that because it's not realistic that he'd be gritty.
Yeah.
Like her story and her whole background makes sense that the tone would be gritty and dark. So and that's why I think it's tough to do with superhero movies because like these people are like wearing silly outfits and being dumb. Like, it's that, that, what's that? There's that, kind of like thing they do on the internet where they're like Dora the Explorer. And they just like grittyify everything, whatever. So yeah.
yeah, the character has to come first and superpowers second.
Yes. And the tone has to match the character.
Yeah.
So like it can't just be like, okay, gritty's cool, so we got to make a Superman movie. Okay, this has got to be gritty because, the two things are coming together.
So I'd say start with there, and
Yeah.
if you like it and you want more, then I would say branch out to the other Netflix shows, like maybe Luke Cage.
I'd say Daredevil first. Like,
Daredevil?
Well, the only reason I'm scared to prescribe him Daredevil is because I'm afraid he's going to go. It's got the serious tone, but it's a dumb guy in a devil costume.
the only reason he only picks up the devil costume
true.
on the very last episode of the first season.
One, yeah,
Okay.
Spoilers.
And the reason why I wouldn't recommend Luke Cage right off the bat is because it's not great.
Is it not
it's-
great?
It has a lot of great things about it. All the bad guys are great. The acting from the bad guys is great. The
I'm only
music is
halfway through
great.
it.
Grant's
I'll be
giving
honest
me
with
shaking his head no.
Grant is a heart of ice. The music is excellent.
Is
in
he
Luke
supposed to
Cage.
kind of be like a blaxploitation type style?
he started off
originally.
very much as
Yeah,
one. And
yeah.
Honestly, Luke Cage was better in the Jessica Jones TV show than he was in his own show. I don't know why.
Like I said, I've only had the time to watch the first half of it, and I've enjoyed the first half. Some people have told me the second half is not as good. I haven't seen it yet.
It has ups and downs. Luke Cage is still fine. It's just not as good as I'd say Daredevil or Jessica Jones.
And then they're going to do Iron Fist next, which is again martial
That's a
arts
kung fu
based
guy.
mostly.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
That's
okay.
a kung fu guy, but he can focus his chi into like a super powerful punch that makes things explode.
Okay.
But he's first and foremost a kung fu guy.
Yeah.
And he's best friends with Luke Cage.
Oh, I can get down with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they eventually start a company called Heroes for Hire, where they're like,
Ooh.
in the comics.
yeah, in the comics.
We'll see if they do that in the show.
Oh, they're gonna.
You think so?
I think they're gonna at
We'll
least
see.
mention it.
Maybe.
They say the word Heroes for Hire towards the end of Luke Cage, but they don't do anything with it. It's at the risk of losing Kyle, I'll admit it. They say it in a rap about Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Method Man raps about Luke Cage in it, but it's earned. They worked their way there.
Okay. I like Method Man.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
You know what? You sold me. If you put that's what's been missing. Wu-Tang. Yeah.
Luke Cage at one point stops a robbery, and Method Man is in the
Oh my God.
the bodega that's being held up, and Method Man looks at Luke Cage and is like, "It's you," because Luke Cage is gaining notoriety, and Luke Cage goes, "Nah, man, it's you." And then they
man.
just kind of become buddies a little bit.
Nice.
If they put
Montage, no.
Juvenile in the next Iron Man movie, I'll see every single. I will see every Marvel movie.
I'd say Jessica Jones is your
I think that's my way in.
Yeah.
Definitely.
and then maybe the first season of Daredevil. And if you
I
like,
think
that second
I actually liked the tone of Daredevil, and it didn't seem like it wasn't too over the top. I like Punisher too. Actually, he's
that
like
is the best version of Punisher.
yeah, he's cool.
Oh,
and I just like Punisher the character because
Yeah.
he's just a guy with guns and he's really violent, and I like all those things. But I think just that show specifically may just be like too slow and plotting a little
one?
bit.
Jessica Jones?
Daredevil.
No, the one that
Daredevil.
he kept calling boring over and over.
Yeah. The second episode you showed me was a little easier going, but
if you
I think that's separate from Marvel Universe. I think that just maybe this particular show is a little too slow.
Confession time. I showed you that episode before that other episode. I really wanted to show you that second episode of Daredevil where they, it's Punisher and Daredevil teaming up. But I showed you that first one so you could fully appreciate
Yeah,
that
I
second
guess
one.
that's it, sure.
Because honestly, that scene in the graveyard where Punisher has that 7-minute monologue that is
Yeah.
only interrupted by the word "yeah."
Yeah.
I've watched that scene so many times.
Really?
It's transcendent to me. It's so good.
And I think, is it episode 2 of the first season of Daredevil that has the really awesome fight scene that everybody loves?
Oh yeah,
That was the one I saw,
No,
right?
no.
No,
That,
season
we're talking
one.
season.
Oh, season one.
So if
1,
you-
episode 2. The last scene is a single shot, and it's all a big fight.
Yeah, one
and
big
it's
fight with no cuts.
no cuts,
cool.
and it's yeah. I'd say if you don't like Daredevil by the end of episode 2 of season 1,
Stop.
stop. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Okay, let me see. Are there any other hang-ups you have about it? Anything else we can try and get Stockholm
off.
Syndrome to set in?
No, I mean, I think we found a way in for me, and I think I can appreciate now more the what makes the Marvel universe and the fact that all these disparate characters and different tones can exist in the same world. I appreciate that much more now, I think. And I think also the point that you made about having it be a character first and then adding the superpowers on, I appreciate that. Most of the time, I would have just liked it without the superpowers, but I like that they take the care developing the characters first, and then what else? Yeah, I think that, and then the fact that, and just Jessica Jones, I just like that character very much.
There's one other thing I'd like to try if you haven't seen it yet. Have you seen the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy 2? if you would be amicable to this, I'd like to show you the 2-minute trailer
Okay.
because, and just gauge your opinion after that. So,
Yeah, I've seen it.
Looks good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks great. That's really fun and cool. I like the soundtrack too. Love
yeah, the soundtrack, the Guardian soundtrack is
Yeah.
so good. But
So
yeah, like that trailer was one of my favorite movies of the year. I've laughed every time at Drax
Yeah.
doing that. It just kind of gives me excitement and hope. So
Yeah.
but you've already seen it.
Yeah. No, I'd seen it.
Do you think you're going to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yeah, I would see that. I would see that.
Before Storks?
I would see it before Storks. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. So, Kyle,
Yes.
you started out at a 3.
Yep.
What number would you put it at now?
I would definitely say I'm closer to a 4.5.
No.
No, wait, that's bad.
Oh, that's bad?
Yeah, 10 is less crippling hatred, 0 is ambivalence.
okay, wait. Then, yeah.
Wait, were you at a 7 this whole time?
No, I've just been being nice. You've only made me more angry by having to sit here. No, I would say, I guess I'm, down more. So I was at a 3, maybe like, I guess closer to a 2 or a 1. Is that good?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that would be good.
So 1.5?
1.5, yeah. I would say 1.5.
All right, we did it.
Yeah, 0
Yeah.
would be completely ambivalent. 1.5, you barely hate it at all.
Yeah.
It's a mild annoyance,
Yeah.
but there are some good parts.
Right.
Okay.
And because there's some stuff I definitely don't like, but there are some stuff that appeals to me. So combined, I guess it gives me like a 1.5.
That's awesome. We did it.
Yeah,
We did.
cool.
Oh man, now I know what all of my guests feel when I admit I'm wrong. It feels good on this
Yeah.
side of things. Man, I don't ever want this high to go away. Okay. So Kyle, Jordan.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this. Let's bring this puppy into the station.
Yeah.
Kyle, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, my band, comedy band, My Dark Little Corner, is performing at the Magnet on February 10th. It's going to be really cool songs that people who have seen us before will know and love, some new songs, and we're kind of adding like a narrative arc to the whole show, and it's been directed by Elena Scopetos, who's
she
great.
is so funny.
She's great. So it should be a really fun show. Come check it out.
Awesome. And do you have like a Twitter or an Instagram or just My Dark Little Corner?
Twitter at MDLC Band, Instagram My Dark Little Corner, and just friend me on Facebook, Kyle Gordon. It means a lot.
Kyle's a great friend, you guys.
I try.
Yeah. Jordan, how about you? Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Crackshot, but with a 0 for an O, because I'm an old man.
You badass.
So definitely follow me there. Like Aaron said earlier, I edit the Star Wars comics, the Deadpool comics, and just recently, as of 6 months ago or so, the Guardians of the Galaxy comics.
Oh, nice.
So check those out for Marvel. And if you're a Sailor Moon fan, as I know Aaron is, you can listen to my Sailor Moon podcast. It's called Sailor Business. Me and Chris Sims are watching every episode of the original Sailor Moon anime from '92 with a guest every time, and we talk about each 20-something minute episode for about, I don't know, hour and a half. It's lots of fun. People really enjoy it. You can find that at sailorbusiness.com or on Twitter at sailorbusiness.
And we're going to be eventually, shortly going to be doing a Sailor Moon episode of this podcast.
I'm looking forward to that. I hope so.
Yeah,
I
we're
hope
definitely going to have you back for that.
Convince an adult man why he should watch a little girl cartoon.
I'm ready for it. So stuff I have to plug. So the show that I run with our illustrious and extremely talented producer Grant Goldberg over here, You Are Not Alone, an uplifting show about depression, pretty much last Friday of every month. Depending on when this comes out, I think our next one will be Friday, February 24th. At the Magnet Theater here in New York City. It is the 24th. I just checked the email from the show director. The Monday show is going to be in March.
Fight.
So, I just checked my email to make sure I wasn't going to be wrong about that. I was sweating. But yeah, Friday, February 24th at 7 o'clock. Also, I believe that I'm also going to be doing another improv show as part of the rundown called The Big Show, where all the improvisers are going to be doing ridiculous characters. And Kyle's in that too.
Wait, which show?
The Big Show. I was telling you about that. Oh, we were drunk when we were talking about it. Don't worry, you'll be in it. Don't worry about it. You'll be in it. You'll be
I'll
there.
be in it.
I believe that will be on as part of the rundown on March 11th at the Magnet Theater. We'll talk about it later. You'll be there.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to do
Also,
it.
you can follow this show at Don't Mind Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you'd like to contact us via the old-fashioned emails, you can do that at don'tmindpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow me personally at Hey, it's Aaron Gold on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, if you leave us a review on iTunes, I will read your name along with something that I like about you. So, Eurogurg. I like that you are a gurgle in the throat, but a European one.
I know that guy.
Ask Komodo. I like that you are a wizened fabric. And MJ Still, I like that you are defending Michael Jackson still. Like, you will not back down from that.
Does anybody ever make up terrible names that you have to say something nice about?
Nobody is terrible who leaves me a review. I think the weirdest one was 5 Cats Are Us. But I'm also like at least 50% sure that's my mom. So take that with a grain of salt. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I feel so good right now.
Yeah.
And we've been changing the call off at the end of this because it's a new year. So new sign off for Don't Mind If I Don't. I mind, you mind, we all mind for Don't Mind.